Ready? Okay. So we're gonna deal with, this is on page 42, right? Weighted mean, we're gonna go backwards. Very important. Backwards means you have to show me work, arithmetic, algebra to find out, right? You're kind of undoing what's around your variable to find out what is needed to achieve that goal, the average that is wanting to be attained. If you go to page 23 real quick, remember how we did things? If on 23 they gave us an average, we plugged it in on the left side for average, and then we would add up everything that we were given and make sure we associated a letter for that next thing we needed. So test, in this case on page 23, next drive that was needed. And remember the number of values was 6. So you'd slowly undo it, right? Watch this, guys. We would first multiply to get rid of that denominator, and then we would subtract to get rid of whatever was adding to x. But there's going to be a third step for weighted mean. There's going to be something else attached to x that we have to undo. So same idea, but a little bit more work. Okay, so we're going to go to page 42 and try one. Okay, so Addy wrote 3 math tests, each worth 20% of the final grade. He got marks 75, 80, and 86. That's respectively, right? First, second, and third. What mark must he get on his final exam, which is worth 40%, if he wants a final grade of 86? So, by the way, this is saying final average. Final average, write that down. So that's the goal we want. Right, this is our goal. And this one doesn't have a table, so we're going to make a table real quick. We're going to go actual score as a percentage and the weight as a percentage, right? So let's make a quick table here. So the first 3 tests, Addy scored 75%, 80%, 86%. And what were they worth each? It says that they're each worth the same in this case. Okay, so 20%, 20%, 20%. Okay. And watch what the question is saying. So you know this is a weighted mean situation because they do give us the weights, right? It's asking what must the last score be, right? What must this be to get an 86 average? And what's the weight of this last assessment, the exam? 40%, yeah. Okay, so we made our little table. Some of you will not, I don't require you to make a table, but I think it's cool to just have that because technically there is one that we can make. So percentages, right? Should we check? Well, this one obviously we cannot add up, so we don't know if it's going to be 100%. But this is 20, 40, 60, 100. So what does that tell us? We're going to have to divide by 100 for sure. For sure. So let's do the same thing as we did before. Okay, let's multiply these out. Remember, it's always multiply, add, then divide. So what's 20 times 75? 1500. And we're going to go 80 times 20, 1600. Then we're going to go 86 times 20. Oops. That's 1720. And then what about this? X times 40. What do we write down here? Nick? Morning. X40 or 40x. I don't know, in math we tend to put the number first, but it's saying 40 times whatever x is. Yes. Yeah. So we still go through the steps, right? Multiply, and what are we going to do next? What's the second step? Add. Thank you. back corner somewhere. We know our weighted mean, correct? So we're gonna, that's not what we're calculating, that's already what we know. So we're gonna go 1500 plus 1600 plus 1720 plus that weird one, 40x. Okay. You see that? I'm just adding everything up. What am I going to divide this by? We know it's 100 because I did the check, right? If this had not been a percentage question, then you have to do the unit analysis to see what you're going to divide by which column, right? So let's clean this up. 86 is equal to 1500 plus 1600 plus 1720 plus 40x. So it's a, sorry, don't add the 40x to it, just add the numbers that are in front of it. So 4820 plus 40x divided by 100. Okay, and this is where the action is going to start, okay? So this is the initial setup that you should get to, either by showing me this, or you can just add up what you have here, come up with the 4820. Okay, let me see here what I can do for you. Right, so these three numbers essentially give me that 4820. Okay, so what are we going to do? We slowly, our last goal is to have x on its own. But please never tackle this first, the number that's right beside it first. Tackle everything around it that is not necessarily touching x. And the easiest would be to get rid of this thing that's dividing the whole numerator. Get rid of the 100. So what are we going to do? There we go. Thank you. Right, so 100, and then we get this is just 8600, right? And over here is so satisfying, right? Ka-chink, ka-chink. So 4820 plus 40x. What happens now? Yeah.
You can divide by 40.
You can.
Yeah, that's not enough.
It's possible, but I would first do what's not touching x. Just because of practical purposes, sometimes you get ugly decimals. So I'm going to go minus 4820. I'm going to tackle this. 4820. And that's so satisfying again, right? Do you notice that on the right side, it's all about canceling things out on the right side, and then on the left side is where you do perform calculations. So 8600 minus 4820, 3780, and you're going to need to practice it. There's no way around. But once you see the pattern, and what now, Nick?
You divide 37 by 40 you divide by 40 on both sides, so it takes 40 away.
Yep.
And it's 3780 divided by 40.
That's right. So there, we do that, and we do this. Yeah. So notice that before, the backwards example would have just been multiply both sides, then subtract, and you're done. But in this case, you have that number in front of x. So I'm going to go divide it by 40. 94.5% that is. Okay. So I will make a statement here. Addy must score 94.5% on the final exam to get an average of 86%. Is this reasonable? Is it achievable, I should ask? Is it possible? It is possible. It is possible since the required score is below 100. So talking about possibility, you're just saying, hey, is it below 100 or is it exactly 100? Even if it would be exactly 100, it's still possible. Is it reasonable? Is it reasonable to expect a 94.5 given 70? Okay, so I would just leave it in your hands. I would say it is difficult. It's going to be difficult to achieve. Sorry, achieve given the previous, right? The previous scores. All right. So basically just page 43 on this one if you want to give it a try. So maybe write this down because once you're done your quiz, I want you to try this. So page 43, I believe the answer is already posted. I'm just going to do it one more time. And everything like weighted mean, everything that weighted mean has to offer. So I'm going to actually say 45 to 48. Yesterday I just went 45 to 47, but you are now ready to do 48 as well. Okay. Actually, you were ready yesterday already for that one, but so I'm going to put this on the board again. I want you to try it because tomorrow I'm going to start talking percentiles. Say what? Yeah, exactly. So you haven't seen that before. So